Hi, this tutorial I'm going to go over analyzing your spot rates that are running on consistent lanes. So your consistent lanes in transportation are where you have the most leverage in the marketplace. One of the most common misnomers in transportation is that the largest shippers get the lowest rates. We don't see that to be true in our data. What we do see to be true is the most consistent lanes do get the lowest rates. That's what carriers really, really want, something that they can build their network around, that they can rely on and commit capacity to. And that's an all else equal type of statement. So there's other variables at play for sure as well, but in general. So what I'm going to show you real quickly here is how to analyze those spot rates that are running on consistent lanes. Those are rates, especially in a normal to tight market, that you would want to convert over to contract and avoid using spot. A lot of times that can be driven by volume variability. That's the most common culprit. And so that's something that you can work with your internal teams to do your best to try to control or at least forecast. So the settings that I would apply on this for this process, and by the way, this is the type of process that I would have an analyst in my organization running weekly, if not at least monthly, especially as you enter a tight market where these spot rates can really put cost pressure on your total budget. It starts to become one of those 80-20 rules where those spot loads are really controlling the whole budget overspend. So the settings that I have set up here, you can see at the top in the applied filters, the most recent data is what I want to analyze last 4 weeks. You could even look at last week if this is a weekly process. I've got rate type set to spot. That's a filter over here under the load section. So I'm looking at just spot loads that have been identified as spot using the DAT defined algorithm. You can change that up if you prefer your definition. And I'm comparing all rates to a contract benchmark. So this is an important setting. This is going to make those spot rates look high because in a tight market, they're going to be higher than a contract rate. So that's an important setting for this analysis. And then what I'm doing is I'm analyzing my frequently used lanes. Again, that's where I have the leverage and I don't want to be running spot. So my lanes object, I have these other objects collapsed here just for view's sake. My lanes object is sorted by delta cost. So I'm just going to work my way down this list, maybe look at my top 5, maybe my top 10. Hopefully this list is changing every week and it's not a consistent problem. And I'm going to learn a little bit about each lane. I'm going to drill down into that lane and then start to do some analysis around it. I might open up the trends line. I might open up the time frame. Now I can look at the trend for a little bit longer. It's important. I'm only filtered for spot right now, so maybe I want to drop in my contract and learn a little bit more about this lane over time. I know it's a consistent lane. So I'm starting to see a lot of rate variability here. And so I'm going to look at a few different things. One of the key metrics I want to see is load volume. Like I said before, load volume is going to be your most common suspect when it comes to moving freight into spot. So this is a consistent lane from the standpoint of it runs week to week, 26 weeks out of the year, but inconsistent from a weekly volume variability perspective. So if nothing else, this gives you some internal communication where you can meet with other terms, whether it be inventory planning, commercial teams that may be managing promotions, driving this, to show them this is the high cost that we're experiencing because of this volume variability. It's also an opportunity to, now that you've released those filters, look at all the carriers that run this lane for you and look for opportunity to try to gain more capacity with your lower cost carriers and see if you can work with them to provide more capacity on that variability. The lanes where you have the most leverage in the marketplace is where when you run these filters, when you see that nice smooth line, you have an opportunity to make sure you're getting good routing guide compliance on your contract rates. I hope this is helpful. Thank you.